I'm Jude, I'm a queer man in my mid-30s, and in an attempt to remind myself that life really actually is worth living, I've bought a house in the middle of nowhere and moved to the Scottish countryside.
I used to joke that my parents were going to spend all my inheritance on birdseed. Oh, how the tables have turned. I took a break from sanding to check in on some past projects. The clover seeds I sowed a couple of weeks ago have sprouted, and after some teething problems, I think the water butts are now actually collecting water. After a few rainy days with nothing, I decided to bring the guttering out a little further from the shed and cut down some of the overhanging branches. This is the first time since then we've had rain coming from the right direction, so I could check if it worked. I still need to add some protection to the gutters to stop leaves falling in, but at least they're doing their job now.
I don't know about you, but I absolutely love spending 2 days sanding something, then staining it, only for it to look exactly like it did before. This project has paused while I wait to see what happens after the first coat of stain has dried on the first bedside table, and if it looks orange, then I will probably sand it back and I'll paint them instead. I don't really like painted furniture, but I dislike it less than I dislike orange pine. It's the third day of sanding in the rain, and it's starting to feel a bit like Groundhog Day.
While the stain wasn't quite so orange after it dried, it still didn't look how I wanted, so I decided to sand it back. I've ordered some of the browning wax that all the social media furniture flippers seem to use, so I'm going to try that instead. In the meantime, I've been storing my leaf mould leaves in old compost bags, but I read that they're supposed to rot down faster in a wire cage, so I decided that was exactly the sort of thing I should spend my time making. Notice how I don't take the roll of wire out of the packet to measure it? That'll come back to haunt me later on.
I'm having one of those weeks where everything I touch goes wrong. So I'm about to cut chunks off of all of the wooden frames that I just built because, and this will come as no surprise to anyone who knows me, my maths was wrong.
I used wire cutters to cut this first piece. It took nearly 20 minutes and almost shredded my hands. The rest I did with some cheap old scissors in almost no time at all. Before I could assemble my leaf bin, I needed to clear some space to put it, and it finally stopped raining long enough to make a start. There was a brief moment of excitement where I thought this might have been a Belfast sink. Alas, a fiberglass trough. A lot easier to move than a sink though. Imagine these in the spring with a coat of paint in front of the cottage and full of flowers.
Initially my plan was to just clear enough space so I had room for my leaf mould bin, but now I've started, I'm kind of invested in finding out what's going on behind all the ivy, and a lot of the plants are looking a bit worse for wear, so I'm having a bit of a clear out. I'm kind of intrigued by what's going on here. There's this brick base, but the top is missing from this half, and it's a deep kind of hollow. So I'm not sure what's happening down there.
My aim is to fill up this cage with leaves, Let them rot down and hopefully this time next year have a good chunk of leaf mould to use as mulch on my raised beds. I think forward planning and patience are important skills to have when it comes to both renovating and homesteading, and neither of them come particularly naturally to me, but I'm doing my best.
I thought I was making progress with my rainwater collection, but we've had another few days of rain and there is still a distinct lack of water in my water butts. Until this point, I've been at the mercy of the rain to test this, but now I have a hose pipe long enough, I am determined to get these functioning. Have I just picked the most sheltered spot in the garden? And am I going to have to move them? Maybe, but I'm going to make sure first.
After establishing that most of the water was flowing straight through the diverter and out of the overflow pipe, I conducted an assortment of haphazard experiments with the hose and ended up completely disregarding the manufacturer's instructions, cutting a chunk out of the pipe and moving everything up a few inches.
I've spent so much time sheltering from the rain in the greenhouse this week that I might have to put a chair in here. I've come inside to do the next phase of my project. The water butt lids have this hole in for the handle, which I appreciate. It's nice to be able to get them on and off fairly easily. But I've noticed that leaves keep getting into the water butts through the hole in the handle. So I'm going to tape some mesh to the inside and hopefully fix that problem. Hopefully, for both our sakes, because I'm as bored of thinking about it as I'm sure you are of watching it, this is the last water butt content you'll see for a while. Maybe the next time will be me gleefully filling up a watering can from one. We shall see. But while I've got the hose out, I'm going to water my leaves that I collected yesterday so they can start to rot down nicely.
Thank you so much for watching. See you next weekend.